not all inheritance is genetic. Cultural inheritance is an incredibly big part of our early development in Homo sapiens and in social species, and in particular with Homo sapiens, with language and with how much culture we do have. Um, Cultural heritage ends up becoming a major part of who we are. If you look at people who are adopted, my best friend was adopted as an infant. And so he's only known his adoptive family. That's his family. It's the only family he's ever known. He acts just like any other member of his family, more so than he would now relate to like the family that he's genetically related to, because the culture and the language and the things that were handed down to him were from his family, from his adoptive family. And that's impacted who he is. When on my dad's side, they have this recipe, and cooking is an incredibly it's a great example of cultural inheritance. So in my dad's side of the family, my dad's mom, so my grandma on my dad's side, she had a bunch of recipes, and one of them that I like and grew up eating was this strawberry shortcake recipe. It's not a traditional strawberry shortcake. It's less sweet. It's more like my dad has when he's being lazy, he has a like quick and lazy version where uses it. He uses Bisquick to make it, and he usually makes that one. So like that's the version I'm more familiar with, and so I it's a very like biscuit like cake. It's not very spongy or soft. And then like the top of it almost gets like and it has like a kind of a rough texture over the top, and you can almost knock on it sometimes. And but I like that because texturally, then you get the crunch from the top, and then the inside is a soft cake. And I eat it when it's like right out of the oven, and then I eat it with ice cream because we eat it with vanilla ice cream instead of whipped topping, and then we just do the regular strawberry topping usually. I didn't have very many strawberries, so I did raspberries as well when I tried to recreate it. Um, I do want to show you my attempt at recreating it because I didn't have access to the actual recipe. I grew up eating it, and I grew up around it, watching it be made. I've seen it be made a bunch of times, but I don't have the recipe on hand. So I tried, and I also uh, do not have many ingredients to work with at the moment. I'm struggling financially at the moment. So I had to make a lot of substitutions. For example, instead of baking powder, I had baking soda. Now, baking soda can still act as a raising agent, but only in the presence of an acid. So I had to add lime juice. And then, like, I didn't have sugar, so I used powdered sugar. Which is really just grain size, so I don't think that would matter. But I had also I tried using butter flavored Crisco because AI thought that was a good idea. I also did use AI, which I think so. Cakes are an very intricate technology. There's a lot going on scientifically. You could look at thermodynamics, material science. If you're looking there's a YouTube channel called How to Cook That, run by Reardon, who's this Australian mom. She's a food scientist. She has cake experience. She has a cake rescue series that I love. And that's kind of what I'm doing with this video, is saying that my cake needs to be on her cake rescue series. But I tried to recreate this. And with cakes, on Anne Reardon's channel, she did this experiment where she was testing. So the brownness on the outside of a cake is thanks to the Maillard reaction, which is it's like browning sugars basically. In cooking, it's the main one that makes things delicious. But you um, she was looking at if you could affect the blondness or doneness of cake by changing the color of tin or the material of the cake tin, or and so then you also have to look at the like leavening agent, the aeration, the like moisture content. You want to get like a certain amount of lipid content in there. So like the fat content needs to be so high. There's a lot of science that goes into cake to get the right crumb size, to get the bubbles just right. The cooking time and duration matters, the doneness. And then if you're getting into decorating cakes, you get into like structural engineering. You got to get supports in there. It gets pretty complicated, honestly. And she went to school for this. She spent a lot of time getting all of the knowledge and expertise required to be able to know how to make these cakes. She puts out cookbooks. So she shares her recipes that she knows with the world already. Now, my grandmother's strawberry shortcake recipe is not going to be found in any cookbooks. So I will show you. So, and with how much goes into cooking, Anne Reardon, she knows exactly when you make substitutions, how that's going to affect the outcome. There's so many variables and factors that go into it that I don't fully understand the mechanisms behind and everything, that I have no clue. In my mind, when I look at a recipe, I can't tell how it's going to turn out. Anne Reardon can. When she looks at a recipe, she knows if this is going to work, if it's not going to work. She will know too, like, oh, this might like be like a dry cake, or this might, because she understands how it all plays together and how the method affects the outcome. I don't understand any of that. I don't understand, I added AI told me to start with 2 cups of flour. Well, I mixed it and cooked it in the same container. So when I added the 2 cups of flour, I looked at it, and it just didn't look, I was judging the volume and it just didn't look like enough. So I told AI like I was going to do 3 cups of flour and to adjust the quantities and everything. Then it told me to add, it recommended that instead of the oil that I had on hand, I used this butter flavored Crisco, which I've never cooked with in my life. I don't even know where it came from, but I've had it. So I was like, okay, if you think that's better, I'll use it. So it was telling me for 3 cups of flour to use 1/3 cup of the Crisco, and this was my only fat. And I was like, that ratio. So you're saying 1/9 of a cup of Crisco for every cup of flour? And it was like, yep, that's the ratio. And I added it, and it just did not look right. And so I figured it just got confused, and it was like a 1-to-3 ratio. So I did a full cup, and this a similar thing happened. The only liquid I had was whole milk. I ended up having to, and typically in baking I cheat. Like for example, everything needs you to add in salt at the end. They all want, like if you're making cookies, chocolate chip cookies, they all need salt at the end. But then they all call for unsalted butter. I just use the salted butter. Plus the salt tastes good in it. But so I like to, normally I'd use like sweetened vanilla almond milk when I cook like a cake or something. But I just used whole milk, and I made a couple of other substitutions, and AI, it didn't even give me quantities. It was telling me to like eyeball a bunch of things into this recipe. And I tried it. I thought that because I wouldn't know how the substitutions would affect the outcome and how intricate this was, that this was a place where AI and its ability to search the internet would excel, in a place that it would do better than me. But I think that instead it's illustrated some of the failings of today's current iteration of AI. It just, when AI hallucinates, it often hallucinates confidence, which is incredibly inappropriate, in my opinion. It should absolutely not be pretending to be an expert when in reality it has no clue. I want it to admit the fact that it doesn't know. I want it to just be honest with us. So like say, I checked the internet and I can't be sure. It says stuff like this, but and just be honest about it. Give the context. Don't lie to me. Don't be like, yes, well, for sure, this is how you do it. Like, what if I wasn't just making this because I was feeling lonely and missing that familial sense of connection? And so I was trying to recreate this taste and flavor from my childhood and from my memory, and to like taste it again. What if this was a party? Like what if this was a wedding cake? I could have messed it up because AI confidently pretended to be a cake making expert when really I needed Anne Reardon the whole time. I should have got on the phone, dialed up Anne Reardon. She could have answered from Australia. It probably would have been in the middle of the night there, but I would have been like, hello, Anne Reardon, I have an emergency. I missed this strawberry shortcake from my childhood. I went on many vacations and my Aunt Elaine, who has since passed away, she we used to make this all the time and I loved eating it and I wanted it so badly. And if I had Anne Reardon on the phone, I could have tasted that. But let me show you my method for making the cake and how it turned out. Basically, let me show you the fail.
My God, this is an AI cake for sure. Look at this is not enough fat. Someone get Anne Reardon on the phone. I need help. So what do you know? This has become an episode of Anne Reardon's famous cake rescue. So this is my cake. What I've done, I put in 3 cups of flour. And I'm using butter flavored Crisco to make a raspberry strawberry shortcake. I have raspberries instead of strawberries. And I have incredibly limited ingredients. So I eyeballed the salt. I put in some salt. I put in a cup of Crisco. I put in, I have not baking powder, but I have baking soda. So I haven't added it yet, but I'm gonna add some lime juice to make sure it rises. I mix together my dry ingredients. Now I'm adding in the fat to make it a crumbly dough. Then I'm gonna add some whole milk and an egg. But this has become a cake rescue episode because I got this cake recipe from AI and I have very limited clean dishes and ingredients, so I'm just trying to make it work. Okay, I mixed it all in, but I feel like I need to get my hands dirty from here because I need to get it more mixed in, more crumbly. I need smaller crumb, I feel, from what I remember seeing growing up. I will be right back. That looks more like what I was expecting. Now I'm going to add an egg, and then I'm going to add some milk. Got that preheating to 350. Half a cup whole milk. I added 2 teaspoons of lime juice because I substituted for baking soda. And I added the whole milk, and now I'm just going to mix it together. It's much closer, but it's still too dry. I can't mix it all in. Now it's starting to come together. Stupid me forgot sugar of any kind, so I'm gonna try to add some, and then I'm gonna add more milk and turn it into a cake batter. I added a little powdered sugar because that's what I had. Oh, the oven's ready. So let's turn this into a cake batter. Got my whole milk. Splash of that. And I'll get to mix it. This is my first cake that I'm making, and I'm going to extremely confidently say cake rescued. I'm gonna put this in the oven. Very optimistic, but I'm saying it. Okay, I didn't time it, but I started timing it now and it's not done yet, so we'll see. Time to get started on the topping. I'm gonna get the raspberries out. Okay, I put the raspberry in and I'm gonna put the rest of my sugar, which is not much, in there, and I'm just gonna blend it up. So pretty and red. It's delicious. I made a raspberry puree, but I added some strawberry syrup and I put in some lime juice to make it sour. It's so good. And I put in powdered sugar. It's gonna be my cake topping. That could not be any yummier. It's also so red. Well, here's my very biscuity cake. I just put a knife in it. And it comes out clean, so I'm calling it done. Oh no, I wanted Anne to be proud of me. Look at this. It's a complete disaster. It tastes disgusting. It tastes like bread. Look at it, it's so stodgy. Oh, it's terrible. Luckily, this turned out to be like a lime, strawberry, raspberry daiquiri. And it's just virgin, but I'm going to eat it as like a strawberry sauce. Okay, that's actually fucking good. You know what? Cake rescued. Bam. Just like that. And the power of fruit. Thank you, Anne Reardon. I'm just kidding. Anne, you should really save my cake. Please rescue my cake. Look at how sad it is. Nope, that is a fail. That is a cake fail if I've ever seen one. It is terrible. I should just add alcohol to this and drink it up. It's really good. This cake had so much potential. I was looking forward to it. I'm so disappointed. Anne Reardon, help me out.